All right, welcome back to another episode of the Bears Film Room show, presented by Sports Mockery. My name is Dave. I cover the Bears for SM. Joined by my good friend, co-host, Chicago Bears content creator and writer. We'll get to that later. Ficky, and we have. Oh, hold on.
Oh, you good?
Yeah, it was like an echo for a second, so I was like, what is going on here? But yeah, no, we have a really fun episode for you guys today. Sorry for being a little late. We are just fixing some things on the back end. So
can we give a shout out here? This is funny. B Smooch Shaw. It was like 3 minutes past 7, somebody lying. You're absolutely right. And for our day one fans, earlier on when we were doing these episodes, it was never on time. We had a streak where we were on time for a good amount, so we'll have to get back.
Shame on me though, because we control when we put these out on YouTube, like as far as when they're going to date, when we're going to go live. So I can easily put 7:10 on there, 7:05 to cover our bases. But
that's the problem. That's on us.
7 o'clock just sounds better.
It does.
So, but yeah, we appreciate you guys joining us for a Friday edition of Bears Film Room. We're going to go ahead and talk best takeaways, best highlights from OTAs this week. It's the second round of OTAs. They have finished up. Next week, I think, is mandatory minicamp.
Yep.
For the whole entire team. So everyone should be showing up, but there's been good attendance for the most part. So I have no doubts there. But we're also going to talk about Caleb Williams at the podium. I thought he was we kind of elaborated, given our thoughts on Twitter, but we have not done it in podcast or show form. So we'll probably start with that. And then we'll go ahead and probably take your guys' questions. So if you guys have any questions throughout the show, go ahead and drop them and we'll get to them. But Ficky, before we hop into everything, how you doing, man? How's the summer treating you? It feels like football is getting close with all that. I see there's highlights on my timeline from other teams, from the Bears, of course. And it feels just a little bit, it's like a tease where you get football back. And so,
well, first off, we are in the funniest part, I think, of any part of the season, because you've got clips of literally no pads. A lot of it, like the offense making plays, whatever, or like one bad pass. And either it's people saying this is the greatest thing that's ever touched grass, or people saying, yo, we need to freak out. We're going to lose every single game. And it's not just the Bears fans. It's literally across the board. So I think it is a funny time because you have little amount of information, right? And you get these little clips here and there, and then you have to form a massive opinion about this player, your team, and the future of the season. So I do think it's funny, not hating people for it. It happens every year. It's natural for us. So I love that part of the season. And because I actually haven't mentioned it, football, actually seeing those clips and whatnot, has actually been fantastic and has been peaceful, because right now I've been dealing with probably the most stressful week and a half of basketball that I've ever had in my life. These games
have been so good though.
Is crazy. So first off, I gotta shout out my Knicks, but like it's either they're down 20, they come back, they're up 20, they lose it. Like this series versus the Pacers has been crazy, and I won't be surprised if it goes to 7. So my anxiety has been all over the place, but it's been good.
It kind of cracks me up, kind of seeing your reactions, because I think a couple of games ago you're like, it's over, and it reminds me of when the Bears play.
I mean, it's sports, right? It's like every game is at game 7. I'm like, game 1 is game 7. We lose, I'm like, oh, series done. You know what I mean? And so hopefully they're pulling off the improbable. Only been done by 13 teams. Hopefully number 14 for the New York Knicks to come back 3-1. But we'll see what happens. You know what? And it's funny, Dave, because we were talking about, to tie it back to the Bears football, we were talking, there was a clip I posted of like me when they won on a crazy game, one of their 50 million crazy games they've had this year, but in the playoffs. And I freaked out, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, you were so like ecstatic. I almost think you're more of a Knicks fan, which is not true. Definitely a diehard Knicks fan. But if my Bears, like, we just haven't been in that position. Like how stressed I get for Knicks games, multiply it by 10.
Well, they're playing meaningful games too. Not that beating Packers in week 17 was, that was great and all, but it meant nothing at the end of the day, except for, beating Green Bay, which is something, I guess. But a playoff game,
like the Parkey game, if you would have saw me back then, you'd be like, oh, I can't be a co-host with him, because I about imploded. Like my body almost exploded inside out from that game. So I'm hoping, though, I think so, that now with the Pope at the Vatican, you know what I mean? He's helping out the Villanova Knicks. He's going to help out the Chicago Bears, and maybe we'll get some meaningful games this year in late December. But it all starts right now in the second round of OTAs, right? Because we talked about it, and we'll get into the updates, but we talked about it during, right when the season ended. There's a lot of reports that came out like, oh, some of these issues peered its head during OTAs. I think Ryan Poles himself said they should have been addressed then, but they weren't. So I know like this is OTAs. It's just kind of like people showing up, kind of learning the basics 101, right, of school. But which we'll talk about is like how these coaches are handling it. Like this time is a very, very important time because you are setting the expectations of what you want from your players, your coaches, and your team overall.
No, I agree. And it's been, and I'm going to throw some highlights on here, and we're going to get to Caleb's presser here in a moment. And then we do have I believe a surprise guest we're going to get on the show here in a little bit. So more on that in a second. But I agree, Ficky, the OTA has been, I saw reports, and I can almost confirm myself. It's been very, what's the word? It's been very like serious, very focused, right? And the team's been energized too. And so I think someone said, I think it was maybe Adam Hogue or somebody said that the Bears, it was Johns, that they had never seen a Bears roster perform and be as focused as they are this offseason, especially during these OTAs, at least in the last decade. So for me, that means something. And I understand it's a new regime, so I get the freshness of it. But I mean, Ben Johnson, we've seen the reports, we've seen it, that he is not afraid to call people out, right? Which we love. Definitely at the same time, I think that's his entire coaching staff, because you got Eric Bieniemy, who he's went viral a couple times now, just for how he is on the running backs. He's just ruthless, and I love it. And if you played football or any competitive type of sport, you understand that's just how practice is sometimes. And some of the best coaches, act like that. You kind of love that tough love. So, and then you got the just a lot of things you like. But I'm going to go ahead and throw up Caleb Williams, if we don't mind. I know we haven't talked about it live on the pod yet, so let me pull it up here, Fick.
Yeah, let's do it.
Do you want to? I'll go ahead and change this over real quick so we can get the 2-person overlay. And like I said, we talked about Caleb's presser, and before I even bring it up, I am excited that he addressed it. He also did it unprompted, which he was going to get asked either way, which always cracks me up. It was coming, but the way he responded, and I think you actually had it first, as far as just getting the clip out there, and it was the way he addressed the entire ESPN story. So it's about 3 minutes long. I'm going to go ahead and start it here, Fick. And then once we listen, we're going to go ahead and give just like our instant reactions, or not instant reactions, just our reactions. And then we'll put this one to bed, because we have talked about it, not as much as some shows, but I think this will be a good ending point since we get Caleb's point of view, which I'm sure if you are on any type of Bears socials, you've seen this already. But we're going to play it for those who have not. And then we'll go ahead and give our final thoughts and put the nail in the coffin of this ESPN story. However, I do think it's interesting that this story or this book is released the day after Monday Night Football opening, or week one of Monday Night Football. And who plays that?
Minnesota and
Chicago. Caleb going to Minnesota. And I think someone else maybe put this on Twitter too. It wasn't me. I just was like, that is a crazy conspiracy.
That is true. I didn't even think about that, because it involves both the teams.
All ESPN
story
too.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
ESPN writer. Who said that? That is not mine. I saw it somewhere.
Well, that's great though. I didn't even think about that. We love a little controversy or some drama, right?
It makes me, yeah.
Do you think, before you play this clip, do you think that book will have anything else there'll be other information probably on Caleb, right? But do you think there's anything in there that's more damning to what he's done than what was already released? And in other words, is there going to be any extra information that's worse than what's already been put out there?
So I believe that this is, when the book is fully released, I think it's actually going to help Caleb Williams and this entire story, because there's going to be context to it, like not just paragraphs, but like chapters probably surrounding everything. And so you can kind of get the mindset. And I bet there's missing pieces where, and I think Caleb alluded to this too, where there was just some things that were misconstrued, that were out of context, that he could elaborate on right now. And maybe I think the book, when it is fully released, should probably help clear some things up where it's not as bad. But at the end of the day, the Bears are the fucking Bears. Like we are I think Caleb had every right before he got here. And at the end of the day, now he's done nothing but embrace the city. He went to high school a couple weeks ago in Chicago. He's just all in with Chicago. So it doesn't matter to me. And I think
I agree.
I'm glad he addressed it. However, some of the follow-up questions we'll get to after we listen to this clip were crazy. Crazy. And it kind of nuts. But again, if you are here before we play this clip, hit that like button, subscribe. And also we have a super chat. So before we get to the Caleb presser, this is from Tito for $10. Thank you, Tito. He goes, how dumb was it everyone tweaking Caleb didn't want to come to Chicago? I mean, his dad and him weren't wrong about the shit show. People need to get over it. It's also why I'm not listed on the Hall of Fame Grizzly list. Oh, why am I not listed?
Are you not, Tito?
We'll see if we might have a new graphic.
Well, I can get that for you then. My bad,
give us
Tito.
some time here. We'll get on there. But Tito, first of all, sorry for that. We'll make that right. But thank you again for the $10. And I agree. It was blown. I mean, it's just the off season, man. This is what happens. So, but again, thank you for the $10, Tito.
Yeah, appreciate it, Tito.
I'm gonna play this. We'll go ahead and finish, or then we'll go ahead and give our thoughts, and we'll move on.
So get this started. First, let's with it is what everybody would love to ask about is this whole storm that happened. It wasn't something that we wanted to happen at this point. We're focused on the present. We're focused on now. We're focused on trying to get this ship moving in the right direction. And I think so far that's what we've been doing. But for this to come out, it's been a distraction. So coming up here and talking about it and addressing it is important today. And so that's what we're here to do. Next is all that went down, all that was said. Yeah, I had a good visit at the other place, Minnesota, with Ken O'Connell, good staff and all of that. Obviously, he just won Coach of the Year award and things like that. So obviously good staff and things like that. But something that keeps getting lost, something that keeps getting, I think, not being addressed the way it needs to be, is the fact that, I went on that visit first, came here, and then after I came here, I went back home, talked to my dad, and, all of the things that were supposed to be these big things that everybody's been talking about recently. One never happened in the sense of they were all thoughts. They were all ideas. And I think if you're in the situation, I think if your son or daughter, anybody is in a situation to be in that position, I think you think about all of the options and, and you look at it, the history and the facts and all these different things. And, those are thoughts that go throughout your head in those situations. So, all of those are thoughts. And then after I came on my visit here, it was a deliberate answer and deliberate and determined answer that I had is that I wanted to come here. And just like Ben spoke about, obviously, the past years, as everybody knows, it's a fact that quarterback play, there hasn't been a 4,000-yard passer. These all the different things that come up. And so, being able to have those thoughts is I think fair to be able to have good and bad thoughts. But like I said, I came here on a visit, and like I said, just like Ben said, it's a challenge to be able to come in here and try and turn around. And that was the main goal of all of that is to through all of what was going on, through all of what happened in last year and previous years. I think that was enticing. I think that was something that was glaring to me that I wanted to come here and be the guy and be a part and be a reason on why Chicago Bears turn this thing around. So that last thing that was said and all of that I think was the most important thing, is that I wanted to be here. That I love being here. I love my teammates. I love all the people that got me here, family, friends, Ryan, Kevin, Flus and Shane, all those guys that went through all of that process with me to get me here. But it was all those things, like I said, were thoughts. But the main goal and the main objective of being here is to turn around. That's why I was selected number one. And so, that's what we're here to do. That's what they brought me here to do. That's what they brought all these guys here to do. Joe, DJ, all these different guys. And that's why they brought Ben here. And so, like I said, it's a challenge. And we look at those challenges and, we don't laugh. We look at them really, really seriously. And, we go attack them, to the best of our ability to go and change it and turn it around. So, yeah.
So that was about 3 minutes. It's about 15-minute presser, but I loved it. Another thing I wanted to point out here was just the way he handled it, but also just mentioning Flus, Shane Waldron didn't have to do that. That's one thing that stuck out to me was just, I know everyone says, class act, everything like, but that's just like, it just shows the person he is. He has no harm, no ill will towards either of those. Were they the best coaches? No, not for him, and he understands that. And there's also another clip here that we'll get to when it comes to Shane Waldron in that film, which I thought was very interesting. But I'll start with you, Fick. Overall, how he addressed himself and addressed this ESPN story, you got to think, I loved it. It kind of closed the book a little bit, in my opinion, for the most part. There's always going to be some people, whether it's media fans, are just going to maybe still talk about it because it's almost June here. So right. A few more months to the season. But overall thoughts on how Caleb handled it?
I mean, I think he handled it pretty well, right? The fact that he came out and addressed it promptly, I think it is good because, we knew, it's what everybody had been talking about it. And everybody was like, oh, why isn't Caleb out there yet when the story came out? Like, just get it over with, which I don't really have a problem, right? Plus it gave him time to kind of figure out the best narrative and story to tell. So I think like, if you're thinking of, PR, like coaching, like this is what you want. That is, whether it's him or someone telling him, hey, this is the best way to address it. This is what you want. There was not really anything that he said was wrong. He said, look, these are thoughts, right? That someone would expect. For example, if any one of us was getting a new job, right? Applied for a new job, got an interview for a new job, and you went and did research on the company, right? And their Better Business Bureau rating was 2 stars out of 5. You might be like, I have some questions about this organization. You might be like, I need to ask other who've worked for this company, like how it is to work there, right? You're going to have some hesitations because there's obviously data out there that says this organization isn't, the best organization to work for based off these reviews. Or if you're going to say a product, you're going to go buy a new TV and you see that it's graded out of 10 at 2.8. You're probably not spending money on that TV because data shows you that there's obviously some hesitations from what people have said who have bought that TV. So you can apply that same logic to the Chicago Bears. If you look at the data of the Chicago Bears, we are the only NFL team. We all know this, but I just have to repeat it. We're the only NFL team that doesn't have a quarterback that's passed for 4,000 yards. Our best quarterback to ever play historically, right? Not the most talented, but the best for the Bears, played in the 50s, and that is Sid Luckman. The next best that people are like, oh, that's a winner, is a kind of a short-stinted quarterback who won us the Super Bowl in Jim McMahon, who didn't pass. His averages were like, I think, under 200 yards a game. And then your third is Jay Cutler. Okay. So just that.
Old Jay.
Yes. We love smoking Jay, but you're looking at that's your top 3 while you could go to someone like Kansas City. Their top 2 is Alex Smith and Patrick Mahomes, one of the greatest of all time. Even if you're going to like the Patriots, Tom Brady, Drew Bledsoe, there are teams that have had multiple. The Bills, they had obviously Josh Allen and, oh my gosh, I can't think of his name, went to 4 straight Super Bowls. His son is Sims, right? Chris Sims.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So Phil Sims, sorry, his dad.
Yeah, I was going to say Chris didn't do that.
No, Chris did not do that.
Yeah, Phil.
But you see, there's organizations out there that have had quarterbacks or are rivals, for God's sake, back to back to back, at least adequate. Well, 2 out of 3 of them are Hall of Famers, okay? So there are teams out there where that would not be the case. A quarterback would feel comfortable because the data has shown that they can give you a good output. So if I'm Caleb Williams or I'm Caleb Williams' dad and I'm thinking about my son or myself, right, and giving myself the best opportunity to shine, of course I'm going to have some hesitations. Of course. So I'm not mad about any of the thoughts or, precursors that he had about joining this team. At the end of the day, he joined it, right? And that's all that matters. He got in here, said, you know what? Maybe this company isn't bad maybe this isn't as bad as what people were saying, or he joined and said, you know what? I know this business is only 2 out of 5 stars. I'm going to move it up to a 4. I'm going to put in the effort to make changes around here to bring up that average, right? And so that's more respectable and commendable. And I'm glad that he kind of addressed it in that sort of way. But I know that was a little long. What was your thoughts on how he approached it?
So, well, I think he handled it really well. I think he's also getting better at public speaking. I think just the way he's able to articulate, just not that it freaking matters. He's a quarterback. What he does on the field is what matters, but just the way he handles himself, very, very impressive. Also, I love the story. First of all, his dad just cares. That's what I love. I love seeing that, right? As far as just him and his father, he said he's his best friend. His parents are his best friends. And I just love that. Like, as a father, that's what I'm going to care. Obviously, if my son somehow goes to the Bears or something like that, I'd be ecstatic. But I understand if he's, it's where quarterbacks have gone to die in the past for the most part, right? And they don't thrive. So I understand that. But at the end of the day, they chose Chicago. And the way he answered this, like I said, biggest part was, just the way he respected everybody that was there. Some of the questions were, which I'm going to play this clip here. I hate saying the word disrespectful, but it's like when they asked him, which we're going to play it, does your dad speak for you? And all of that right there, it rubs me the wrong way. And I understand, we're considered media because we do, talk about the team, we cover it. But at the end of the day, it's like, I feel like we just got to do a little bit better as far as like, he's a grown man. I know he's young and he's 23, I think, or something like that. But just to be asked that way in that type of setting was just wild. But I think the way he handled every single question, because even though he answered it right there, they still had other questions. They were almost asking the same question, but in a different way as far as some of the media members. So I think he handled the whole thing very, very well. And I think if he starts winning, none of this shit's going to matter. But at the end of the day, if they start to lose or it just never works out, I can definitely see this story popping back up. But I am excited to put it away.
Please.
And
it's not as big as it needs to be. It's not that big of a deal.
Well, what really bothered me as well is I think some people, before Caleb spoke, on Wednesday, there were people upset that he didn't speak a couple days earlier because the Bears were there. I think Ben Johnson spoke, but they withheld Caleb, or Caleb just wasn't scheduled to speak, and people were pissed off. Like, the Bears should just put him out there, put this story behind us. And I'm like, people are still talking about this? Like, this is a week and a half ago, and I understand for a day, absolutely, there was a lot. It was a fireworks show as far as the quotes, the details that came from it.
It was definitely the talk of, it's the offseason, nothing's going on. So all NFL people were talking about this story. So
right, yeah. But I wanted to bring up a clip. I was going to bring up the one about with the question. Actually, let's do it. Let's play this one, because this is the one where he gets asked about, does your dad speak for you? And I want to highlight how Caleb handled himself. And then I want to get to Shane Waldron because he was asked about watching film. And I think that was a really, really fun answer and a good answer too. It gives us a little bit more insight on. So, but let's handle this one first. The awkward question from one of the Bears reporters.
Caleb, does your dad speak for you?
No. I actually shut my dad down quite a bit. He has ideas. He's a smart man. And so I listen, and I always listen. And I'm very fortunate to be in this position in the sense of, playing QB, but also very fortunate to have a very strong-minded father. And so, we talk very often. It's like my mom and my dad are my best friends. And so, being able to, have conversations with them to understand that everything they say also is, portrayed on me. So I think that's the part of it. But other than that, no, I mean, I'm like I said, I'm very fortunate to have a father, that's super strong-minded, that's always there, always wants the best for his kid. And I think, any of y'all that has a kid or, anything like that, a niece or nephew that you love so dearly, they try and help and you try and help and put them in positions that best position that you can. So that's all he tries to do. But no, definitely a grown man. And, I shut him down quite a lot just because, in season, out of season, something that you have to do. He cares so much about me and, my future. And we've been along this journey so long together that, all he wants is the best for me. And so if anything happens, he's super, super high headed. And it's more of like, all right, like go ahead and go away, reset and things like that. So, love him to death and things like that. And like I said, super fortunate to have him. But, we have talks about it, understanding that, it's a right place and the right time. And then, there's times where it's not.
So yeah, I'll leave it at that way. I thought he handled it very well.
What a question. Yeah. Oh, sorry. What?
That's crazy, man. I just don't understand as a grown man asking another grown man, like, can you just imagine like going up to anybody and be like, hey, does your dad speak for you?
Yeah, anyone who's past the age of 18.
Because Ficky, tell me this. Is it not disrespectful? It feels disrespectful. That's what I'm saying. And I don't like throwing that word out there towards other people, because I'm like, it's not that serious most of the time, but it's like this one, it just rubbed me the wrong way. I was just like, wow. And I understand, I guess, because there's a lot of quotes from Carl Williams, Caleb's father, and in that book. But again, that's where I'm saying when this book is fully released, I think there's gonna be more context, right, about the entire chapter, or section of where Caleb and his dad are kind of brought up. And so I think Caleb has more quotes. Just this is what ESPN released, and they're strategic. They understood this was going to be a firestorm, at least for a day, but it turned out to be
leader of sports. Come on,
we're talking about it 2 weeks from now, So
and maybe look because phrasing is so important, wording is so important. So like the way he worded it is disrespectful in a way, but like maybe his intent wasn't. So maybe he's literally saying like, hey, does your dad, like he's basically saying, do you give your dad a lot of like room to voice like stuff on your
there's
behalf?
No right way, or I don't think there's a good way to ask that type of question.
There isn't, but this was easily the worst way to ask it.
Yeah, what made it worse is like the beginning too, because it's like he's fighting for attention, so he's Caleb,
right?
And then you're waiting for it because he finally is able to speak, and then it's like that's what comes out.
I don't think he. I'm not thinking he hates Caleb where it's a dig, but definitely how he worded it. 100%.
And I think it's I don't know who it was. I'm not going to say who it was, but I know that who I think it is, and from what people have said is I think he's a good dude. I think you're right. It did come across, but it's just like to ask that is wild in my opinion, no matter who you are or what.
Correct, right.
So
maybe put that one in the back pocket.
Yeah.
And
I'm trying to think like mouthpiece, like do you use him as like a way to
mouthpiece
but that's like a little bit better than like just dad speak for you, but like do you use him like, hey, if you have frustrations, and he sees that, is he kind of like an extra voice, for the public, where he'll take the shield, or say stuff that you probably don't want to come out and say,
which is fine. That's a much better question. You add a lot more context. Speak for you it's belittling because you're saying in essence like child, because that's the only time someone speaks for someone is in most cases is when it's an adult and a child, and that is not.
Well, and also like you're not even asking like an open end. It's like a yes or no question he's asking, which is wild too. Sure. Like we're trying to get more out of Caleb, and that's just a weird way to word it. So, but I thought he handled it very, very well. I'm so happy that I know we're talking about it now, but like I said, we have not gone live since this since his presser. So we thought we would go ahead and talk about it. Let me see here. The next thing I want to talk about, because was actually, well, Vic, you remember the Shane Waldron quote where Caleb basically did not watch film with his OC all season or something along those lines. Everyone knows the story. Something that I found very, very interesting was when he was asked about, hey, is this true? About watching film alone and didn't know how to watch film, which I don't think it, obviously he was a Heisman winner. He first overall draft pick. He fucking knows how to watch film. So again, it's just wild that some of these things that we're hearing. So this was his answer on the report that he would watch film alone.
Yeah, that was a funny one that came out. It wasn't that I didn't know how to watch film. It was more or less the sense of learning shortcuts, in the sense of, or not learning shortcuts, but learning ways to watch film and be more efficient, learning ways to pick up things better. and so that was a funny one that came out, that in context and how I was trying to portray it, didn't get portrayed that way. So it wasn't that I didn't know how to watch film. I was trying to figure out the best ways and more efficient ways so I can watch more film, I can gather more information, so that when I do go out there on game day, that it's I'm that information that I gathered through Monday, when we got back, all the way up to whatever day the game day is. So when I get out there, I can gather it, I see it, I can react, and it's not me sitting there thinking so much about the rules and these different things. It's more of a reaction game at that point in muscle memory. So
fair. Look,
fair.
Film is you hear this from other players. There's a particular things that you're looking for when you're watching film. It's a lot, right? You're watching literally the all 22. So you have to be looking for particular things in particular moments. So when he's saying his shortcuts, it's not that he's making the process necessarily like he's skipping over steps. He's saying, what's a way I can watch more film in a more effective way and be, he said, more efficient. So you can go through more film quicker, pick up things quicker, and move on to looking at other aspects of the film.
But he didn't.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say he didn't necessarily dismiss that Shane wasn't helpful. Which is interesting because he could have.
I think that's the point. The point isn't like he never watched an ounce of film. You're in the NFL. You were in college. You're playing sports. Look, I never played college sports, but I watched film in high school. You're telling me that Caleb Williams, who's been this star since high school, hasn't watched thousands and thousands of film tape? No, come on. So I agree. It's more of like the help that you expect to get from the OC on like, this is what I need to look for. This is how I would see it in this film. He probably wasn't getting it to the level he expected, right? Or he may have been getting it like that with Lincoln Riley, right? His boy in college. And he's like, oh, NFL even more. And it didn't end up being like that. So it's kind of like there's you've heard some players like they'll come from like Alabama or these big universities, and then they'll go to like the Bengals. Before they built their new facilities, they were known for having one of the worst like athletic facilities for the team. And they're like, yo, I just came from Alabama, right? 5-star program. Like their facilities are nuts. And you go into the NFL like, oh, this is going to be an upgrade. And then you walk in and you're like, oh, this kind of sucks. So I think it may be also tied to that, where you're like, your expectation is, hey, this is the better league. I should be getting, the processes should be better, more efficient, and it wasn't in that case. So I'm not too worried about it.
No, it's an interesting one. I don't fault Caleb at all. I am excited to put this story away. So we'll end it there. We're gonna go ahead and as far as OTAs, because there's only so much you can take from it, Fick. I'm excited about not rookie. That was 2 weeks ago. I'm excited about mandatory minicamp just to see kind of what we get out of there. Like I said, the intensity is already really, really high with these OTAs, which I always find funny. Like, I wonder if people understand. Like, do people know what OTA stands for?
Do
you know?
Optional.
No, OTA.
No, optional training something.
Yeah, I always wonder because I'm like, for the longest time, I was like, OTA. You just say it. She's like, oh, I know. Yeah, OTA. I believe, I guess I could be wrong, but from what I've been told, it was organized team activity.
That's it. That is it.
But I'm just like, we all like say OTA, like
never actually know what it is.
Yeah, I see it on Twitter. People say OTA, and I'm like, dude, I wonder if people actually know what the acronym is.
Organized team activities. OTA is way better than.
Isn't that funny? That. I think that's how they have to word it too for like it's not a CBA, right? That's NBA, right?
No, CBA is NFLPA is
NFL. I think there's like how they how they crack down on what you can do, how many times you can practice, how you can practice,
their practice
helmets, pads,
all that parameters.
And with the timelines of the off season and what they can and cannot do. So anyways, OTA, organized team activity. I don't know. Most people probably understood or knew what that was, but I just thought it was. Yours is good too. It makes sense. Optional team activity, same shit.
I was off, but there we go. We know what it is.
Anyways, I thought that's interesting, but I think there's actually a lot of things that I loved what I was seeing, what I was hearing from OTA this week, because this is their second round. So I wanted to start here with you, Fick. I'll go ahead and start. I want to give our best takeaways from this week. We can't use the presser because I think we both agreed that was awesome. I think you did a good job, Caleb. Well done. Let's move on. But for me, the best takeaway for me, or one of the best takeaways, and we'll do maybe a couple here, and maybe we'll go also what we don't like. But for me, I want to start with Tremaine Edmonds because from what I've been told, from what we're seeing, we've seen clips, and we need that because at the end of the day, his contract was his contract, and I'm not sure if anyone can agree that he's played up to that to this point. But this is going to be a big year, and we'll see how he looks as far as like what the future is with him in Chicago. But I thought he's been everywhere. You saw 2 interceptions. He had an interception on Caleb. I think on Wednesday he had another tip, or he tipped a pass from Caleb that went to Brisker, which I can pull it up. I think we showed it earlier actually. Yeah. And first of all, love seeing Brisker out there actually playing football. I know it's not pads, but I just think Tremaine Edmonds is one of he hasn't been talked about enough. I actually have a column that I'm writing up about him and what we expect because this contract is coming up and it's a big year for him, right? And he's still only, I think he's turning 27 or 28.
Crazy.
So for me, giant body, he's like 6'4", whatever it is. He's fast. I think that linebacker duo right now there's a lot of pressure to perform this year because, actually Edwards was extended.
Extension, yeah.
But for Edmonds, there's that pressure there. And I thought it is OTAs. It is May, about to be June, which is crazy. But I think he's playing very, very well, very, very fast. No pads, so take it with a grain of salt. But that's one of my biggest, highlights, takeaways is seeing him, command the defense. And I'm interested to see once training camp comes around, even next week with mandatory mini camp, I think it's going to be fun. So that's my first one. Fick, what's yours?
So mine isn't player related because it's very that's good to see. I agree with you on the Tremaine Edmonds stuff. That's great. But it's so hard to tell unless we get clips. Like, I don't have enough data points to be like, oh, this is like someone has truly, truly stand out. Other than Tremaine, I think you took mine. But I'm going to say the coaches. Everything I've seen from the coaches and the expectations that they've been trying to set, whether it is the psychopath of Bieniemy or starting from your leader in command, oh my gosh, Jesus, Ben Johnson.
Who? Who's the head coach? Jesus.
Oh, I told you these Knicks.
Ficky, man.
Making my brain.
You're in Knicks mode, bro.
I am in Knicks mode. No. So sorry about that. Ben Johnson, right? Our freaking head coach.
Yeah.
It has that what they've been saying at the podium, how we've been seeing reactions, right, on the field, and the reports that are coming out from people that are actually there, the media. I think they've all been in alignment of this approach is different. Now, will that equate to wins? We do not know yet, but it has been different, and I appreciate that. And I've said this, I feel like ad nauseum, every podcast for the past 3 months since, the season's ended, but it's basically accountability. The players didn't have it. They wanted it. They needed it. And it seems like this new coaching staff is bringing that to the table. And I think it was, who was it that had a presser this week that basically was like, Ben Johnson's expectation is you're going to show up with your best every day. I'm going to bring the best out of you every day. And it's not saying that Flus didn't do that as well, but I just feel like the narrative that they're creating, coming from the players, coming from the coaches themselves, and then also what we're getting from the media, it's all aligning to saying no, this is a hard-nosed coach team that's going to make sure that these mistakes are ironed out. If you don't do it right, we redo it, we do it again, and they're going to be on your ass. And I really appreciate that. So that's my biggest takeaway. And I'm I know that may not be as exciting because there's no players or clips for that. But to be honest, the main reason why we lost games last year was coaching. We easily, if we had decent coaching, we have maybe 2 to 3 more wins. Easily. So just that alone in my head, right? And this is all projection. I'm oh, there's 2 wins right there. This new coaching staff and how they're approaching OTAs, that's 2 wins right there, okay? So that's why I'm kind of really excited about that. And I hope that we see a new culture of Chicago Bears because I'm tired of losing. So,
yeah. And I agree. Eric Bieniemy, this is actually, you said there's no clips. There's a couple that have gone viral with Bieniemy that is just so funny where he lights into these guys. I think he called Kyle Monangai.
Yeah, Monangai.
I think he called him an old ass grandpa or something like that.
He was moving
and then it was a bad rep. It was not the best rep from him. And then Monangai, I think I'm saying that right. I'll just call him Kyle, I guess, for now. He said, you love me. And he goes, no, I don't. just messing with them. So I think that's a really good one. Let me pull this one up because I actually think I have one that it's been talked about, but one of the best ones. Let me see my notes here. So this is regarding Ozzy Trapillo. Let me see here. So first of all, big dude. We talked about, I think, the last OTA video. Yeah, giant dude. However, he's competing for that left tackle spot. And I know Braxton Jones, he is not out there. I believe he's still recovering. I think the plan is for him, the timeline, he will return. And if he's healthy, probably will be the starter. But I think Ozzy Trapillo, Kareem Amagaji as well, because they're competing. And I know there's no pad, so it's really take it with a grain of salt. But I think Ozzy just looks the part. He really, really does. I'm excited to see, because the best thing here is if he can dethrone or beat out Braxton Jones. I think he's better than Karan Amagaji right now. And it's hard with Karan because I think the tape from last year it is always going to be there. Like, even if he somehow gets a start next year, I guarantee you there's going to be a little uneasiness about what we might see because of, I know he wasn't ready and the coaching staff last year did not do him any justice, but there will be uneasiness because we just don't know yet. However, excited to see training camp. I know that schedule was released, preseason, to kind of see the reps there and see how he's progressed. But I think those two are competing. I think Ozzy definitely has an edge. I think he just looks like a left tackle. And I think he could be a stud, dude. Like 10 years from now, just locked in. I'm very, very curious. And here's the thing. He was a second-round pick. It's like Tevin Jenkins, right? If Tevin could have stayed healthy, and I know
healthy,
guard,
Tevin's best player on best offensive lineman.
For me, it's like if the Bears found something here, man, they were in good shape because that offensive line was revamped. I think the interior alone is set for 3 to 4 years as far as contract-wise because Thuney's extension. Yep. So a lot can change, but one of my biggest things I've loved to see that I've liked to see is just Ozzy and even Karan just compete, but how Ozzy looks the part. I know there's no pads, so we'll see, in July, August, what that really truly looks like. But I do like what I'm seeing right now. So one final takeaway from you, Fick.
You keep stealing.
And then we'll get to
honestly, I was going to say because
notes, man.
Yeah, Ozzy has been what I was scared of. Let me put it this way.
Mm-hmm.
What I was scared of is that Ryan Poles has a history of not really doing well other than Darnell Wright with offensive line talent. Okay. So you're like, okay, here's another second-round pick on a guy who's more of a physical specimen, not really on our radars. Not saying he didn't have a good collegiate career, but you have that, again, hesitations we talked about that like, hey, maybe this guy's going to come up in the training camp and right away you're going to be like, not looking good. Now, it doesn't mean this guy's going to be a Hall of Famer. It doesn't mean this guy's taking Braxton Jones' spot. None of that. It's so early. It's May. But it is good to see that the reports coming out for Ozzy are favorable in some ways that some people are like, oh, he's coming for Braxton Jones. I don't think that's the case. I don't think you think that's the case. But this is good to see that the guy you picked in the second round at least is serviceable. And as we know with the offensive line, especially this team, injuries happen all the time. And it was the biggest weakness of our team. So I'm happy that we actually now have a solid backup and we don't have to, Karan obviously probably has gotten better this offseason, but we don't have to rely on Karan because we have someone like Ozzy who can also fill in, switch tackle for either left or right. So all in all, to say you picking him as a great takeaway is exactly it. I think those are the big, honestly, I think the Ozzy talk has been higher than Tremaine this offseason. So, I'm not surprised by that, but I am happy that he is playing the part. So we'll see. We'll see.
No, I agree. Well, we had, like I said, we talked about potentially having a fun special guest on just for the last, 15 minutes of the show. Before we bring him on for these final moments, Fick, let's go ahead and get this read. I know we want to talk about a few things, get that graphic up that some of our Patreons want to see. And then we're going to bring in a special guest. I'm going to let him introduce himself. I know he's Jack. So speaking of Jack, where is Jack?
Yeah, where's
Mr.
Jack?
Jack?
Where's Jack? He is still part of the show.
Yeah.
He's just been a busy man. So if anybody's wondering where erroneous Jack is at. But if you want to support Jack, Dave, and I, you can by obviously liking and subscribe. It is free. It is for the algorithm. It helps get the show out to more of y'all, to other fans like y'all, Chicago Bears fans, because we're really trying to build a community here. Because if you don't know, this is the BFR Podcast, the #1 show for the fans, by the fans, because Dave, me, and Jack are all fans like you. We get excited about highlights, clips in May, and we also get devastated on plays like the Fail Mary. So we go through the ups and downs of this season just like y'all. So we appreciate you all being here because, again, it's the #1 show for the fans, by the fans. So if you do want to support us, please just like and subscribe. If this is your first time, also, we do this for every show. Please leave a hashtag New Face Gang in the chat. If you're on YouTube, go ahead, or Twitter or Facebook, and we'll give you a shout out. And if this is not your first time, which I know a lot of you, it's not, and you're a true OG, which means you have watched at least 2 episodes, or you've watched all 100 and whatever we're on, like 160 maybe. I can't ever remember. But if you've seen a lot of our shows, you're a true OG. We appreciate you. Please leave a hashtag OG in the chat, and we will give you a shout out before the end of the show. All of that is free. It just helps the show grow, and we really do appreciate it. But if you also want to support us, we do have a merch store where we did drop some fire new merch, part of the Chicago new era that we have here. And we also have a mug. You can see we have a new hoodie. We have a new shirt, a new hat, all different types of stuff, which is fire. But that's the BFRstore.com. You can go there, buy it for yourself, buy it for your friends, buy it for your family, buy it for your dog. I don't care. If you just want to look fresh this upcoming Sundays for the NFL season, you can wear that. Or if the Bears start to lose a lot, hopefully not, and you're like, yo, I can't wear a jersey out in public, you can wear this and you won't get clowned on. So appreciate the love and support there. You can also support us by joining our ongoing Patreon community. That's the BFR Den on Patreon. And on there, we have exclusives like monthly giveaways, our private Zoom call, which is tomorrow morning for our Patreon members. I know they're excited about that. Mailbag episodes, which we'll be recording this week. And there's much, much more, like access to our private Discord. We have exclusive merch on there for our Patreon members. And we're working on all different types of other value. We actually just dropped a new Caleb Williams iPhone or not iPhone, whatever phone you have, wallpaper on there. So for free, just being in there, you get tons of free stuff like that. Just for joining, you also get another, like a free Chicago Bears history book that we created as well. So a bunch of great value in there. And there's 2 tiers. Well, there's a free tier. Then there's a rookie tier, which I'm going to give a shout out to our rookie patrons here. We have Alex, Brian, Chris, Jason, Eston, and our new member, Caleb. Love the first name. Shout out to y'all for being our rookie Grizzlies. That's $3 a month. And with that, you get access to basically everything I said, except the private Zoom call. And if you want the private Zoom call, that's only $10 a month. And that's our Hall of Fame tier right here. So give a shout out to our Hall of Fame Grizzlies, Michael from across the pond, Gage, Phil, Michael, Thomas, who just joined. Shout out to Thomas. And our man Tito. I got you in the graphic. You're in there. OG, thank you for the $10 super chat. But they will all have access to our private Zoom call tomorrow. And then obviously all the other monthly stuff that we have in there. And as I mentioned, monthly giveaways. We have a giveaway literally this weekend as well. So if you get in there now, you have a chance to win a sweatshirt, hoodie, mug, anything from our store. We do it every month, and winners win every month, and they get it. And they're excited because it's free. So thank you for all the support there. Again, leave a hashtag New Face Gang in the chat. If you are new, leave a hashtag OG. If this is your second time watching, if you're a true OG, shout out to y'all. And then just make sure to like and subscribe. We really do appreciate all the love and support. So that was a lot, but I think that is it. Thank y'all for tuning in to the #1 show for the fans, by the fans, the BFR Podcast on a Friday evening.
Absolutely. Well said, Fick. Appreciate all the support. Like Ficky mentioned, it's been unreal. I think we're over 8,200 subs on the way to 10K before the season starts. So we appreciate y'all. A lot of Bears content. So we appreciate everyone that takes the time and supports the pod. So without further ado, let's go ahead and we got 10, 15 minutes left in the show. We have a guest here, Phil. We've been on his pod. Phil, like I said, you don't need an introduction, but how are you doing, man? We appreciate, first of all, hopping on. I know it was kind of last minute, but we've been wanting to get you on. We'll get you on again too. But how you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Man, I'm glad it's Friday. I'll be honest. I'm glad it's Friday. Yeah. I'm glad Caleb spoke this ESPN story, which is what we want to kind of pick your brain about. But I'm doing really well. Vic, you're doing well too. I think we already talked.
Yeah, we're
about
doing
this,
good.
But
We're doing good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, Vicky, I wanted to come on here and talk trash about the Knicks really bad, and then They just ran
won.
off 3 in a row. So
Yeah.
I'm not in a great position to do that. So you look pretty good right now. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I
good luck.
appreciate it. It's I was telling
luck.
Dave, it's like my heart and brain, like my heart's gonna explode and then my brain's gonna melt. Like it's been one of those weeks.
Yeah.
So,
Dude, your
hopefully-
timeline is so funny,
bro. It
it's
is. I'm
up and
sorry.
down, bro.
It is. Yeah, it's a lot, and I understand that. I'm an emotional man. Like we said, look, this is the BFR podcast. No more show for the fans, by the fans. We're fans, and like the Knicks, I'm living and dying by every shot.
Well,
Yeah, man.
Phil and I, we're
It's crazy.
diehard Bulls fans. I would love for the Bulls to be in the Eastern Conference. Like, I just want them to be playing meaningful games. And
Yeah.
so I'm a little jealous. But, Phil, let's hear it, man. First of all, I don't know if we want to talk Knicks, but I want your unfiltered – because I've seen your some of your takes. But for our listeners, what are your thoughts on this ESPN story? What are your thoughts on Caleb and how he addressed it? Also, I don't know if you saw the question that was asked about, does your dad speak for you? All of that. I kind of want your thoughts on it, man, because I know you have some.
Unfiltered. You said unfiltered?
Unfiltered's fine, man.
Okay.
Thoughts don't matter to me.
Okay, we could do that. Yeah, I think it's so fucking lame what the media was trying to do to continue to try and push a quote out of Caleb. I think it was really weak behavior. Like, you could tell a majority of the fans were like, we don't care about this 1.5 year old story. And they kept trying to like gaslight us on Twitter, like who that were the problem. We're reacting when they're the ones that are coming up with like non-stories or like, trying to peddle stuff that we don't want to talk about. So I just think it's really, really weak. I think it's but it's par for the course for Chicago media. Especially the old school Chicago media. So they don't know another way. But I think hopefully with the Ben Johnson era, like things are gonna change and start going our way. And
well, I think even how Ben addressed it too, he did a really good job. And for those who don't know, Phil, we've been on his podcast. He's the host of Just Another Year Chicago Bulls. He also has a professionally profane podcast, which is Chicago sports, WWE. I mean, you guys do a bunch, but I want you to plug yourself, Phil.
Okay. I appreciate that, man. Any BFR fans, if you haven't seen my podcast, you should go and check out the BFR episode because that was a great episode. I had a lot of fun. We were really chopping it up on there, but man, you can see me at JC Phil. That's my personal account, or I'm on Just Another Year Chicago Bulls. We're on the a host of like daily Chicago Bulls content for Just Another Year, and then that's at @Shy_Bulls, and then the Professionally Profane podcast is at Profane Pod, and I'm on there with Davey. We had a great time at the NFL draft, and we got like a vlog coming out for that. So it's gonna be
fun.
It's gonna be sick, dude. It's gonna be pretty sick. So man, just been working, and I appreciate you guys for bringing me on. It's really an honor to be on the BFR podcast because as everyone just seen, like I'm a Hall of Fame Grizzly, Hall of Fame Grizzly. So it's pretty dope to be on,
Yeah, man. No, we're excited. You're part of, and I don't want to say business because I hate saying that, but I mean, you're a content creator. You are Bulls, Bears, through and through. So we appreciate you. Also, like I said, that episode was one of my, you can go to on the YouTube page. It's super simple. You can search it. Such a blast. We actually had Jack on, which Jack has been.
Yeah, he only goes on other people's pods.
He's legit a part-timer now. He is
really
legit.
Really?
No, he's not. It's been a summer.
Just giving him
like shit. I said, he's basically been on vacation permanently for like a month. But we'll get him back here.
Wait, time out. Can I share one comment I thought was funny from our OG member Rudy? He said Jack saw DJ at OTAs and that basically put Jack away. Jack was upset that DJ was there, basically. Because if you don't know, or if you do, Jack is the body language guru of DJ Moore. So I'm excited to see how that's going to be going into this season with Ben Johnson.
Is he on team like trade DJ?
Not fully.
I wouldn't say no, but he was definitely. Jack was very upset about
the
these
first
things.
time something pops up negatively, he will be right. He'll be jumping on that bagwagon, and I guarantee you
For
that's how
sure.
close he is because he's not. He's kind of like halfway on, dragging his feet. He's not there yet. But Burden.
Yeah, that's the body
Burden's
language.
not out there.
Not out there yet. No, because
He's
oblique injury.
that tissue, soft tissue. So
Phil, what's your expectations for DJ this year? Do you feel like last year was more of a flash in the pan, something, just a 1 year bad year, right? It happens. Or is this more of what's to come?
I think last year was a flash in the pan. Like, honestly, like all the performance from last year, like I'm kind of like throwing it out the window. We had the worst coaching staff in the NFL, like voted on by the players. And so to have the worst coaching staff in the NFL, like I'm not surprised that we got low performance from a lot of guys. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if a number of dudes like really turn it around this year. Like even Tremaine Edmonds, like everybody is out on Tremaine Edmonds, but like I think that Dennis Allen might be able to coach him up, and he has like the size for that 4-3 middle linebacker position. So like we want him to like work out. So I'm hoping that he could really bounce back now that he has better coaches than the Eberflus gang and the acronym Alphabet Army. Dweeberflus is the worst, man. I'm so glad that era is over. Like, I just needed to say that. Like, it is over, you guys. We have Ben Johnson. Like, that's
like how many wins do you like? Because I honestly feel like it's addition by subtraction.
I thought you said dipshit.
Right? Well, that's pretty close.
Yeah.
Based off 4 games we saw last year, particularly the freaking Lions game where you ended the game with a timeout in your hand.
Yeah.
It might be a fair definition there. But just from this new coaching staff, how many wins added do you think we have just from the guys we brought in?
I think we have like at least like 3 to 4 wins just based on coaching staff. Like we were 7-9, right?
Yeah.
Like I think we're gonna be at least.
Oh, we were not 7-9.
Am I tripping?
Were we 7-9 last year?
No,
I just remember it's so worse.
No, was it worse?
We were not 9-7.
No, we were not. We didn't have a winning record. We
Hold on, 6. I got y'all. Keep going, Phil.
Keep going, Phil. I can't remember. I tried to
My
remember.
bad. That's my bad.
All the negative seasons.
I don't know why.
5-12, fellas.
5-12. Okay, I was giving us 2 extra wins in my head.
My bad.
Look at
I was
us
going with it. It's good.
That's how we got through last year. We're like, no, yeah, we got 7 wins. It wasn't
we
that
beat
bad.
Washington, and like we also like had that special teams thing.
You're
against
100%
Green Bay.
right.
Those really both count as wins. So
Minnesota game,
my bad.
we got the
Minnesota game,
onside kick.
Lions game, Thanksgiving. Yeah, there's a bunch of them there that really should have been wins. But I think that makes sense, right? 5 games. Like this team with the talent it has, not what does Vegas have us at? Like 9, 8? So like even they're saying just the addition of this coaching staff, they're expecting 3 to 4 wins. So I think that's pretty spot on.
Yeah. I mean, it's a really high level coaching staff too. Like all the guys like Al Harris and Antoine Randall and Dan Rochar and JT Barrett, all of them. It's just a really well built coaching staff. So I have like as much confidence, like top to bottom, in the Bears that I've ever had in my life, and it's really scary because if this doesn't work out, like I'm not sure how I can ever like get back up there again. We'll see.
I would say it's
going to be hard.
First of all, I think the way you said that, Phil, high level coaching staff, I think it's the perfect way to put it because it's very impressive. I think I wrote about it is the way Ben Johnson was able to construct and get the additions that he did for his first year. He's a first-year head coach, but to get the guys that he got, Dennis Allen, what you just named, I'm not going to do it again, but it's very impressive. But at the same time, it makes me wonder with I just lost my train of thought. With Eberflus, because I think he's a really good coach. He's with Dallas, correct? It is kind of shocking how everyone underperformed last year, and now you talked about you've never felt more confident heading into this year. I feel the same way. It reminds me of like and it's probably not the same way, but remember in 2018 after the playoff loss, I was so confident.
Right.
And ever since then, I've been cautious, but I agree with you. This is the first time in a while since probably that season where I'm like, I feel very, very comfortable being like, okay, we are going to compete. And I think we should probably get a playoff spot. You know, I'm not saying we win the division, but a wild card should be the expectation. And if we don't, that's my confidence. I wouldn't say it's where it was after 2018, but
no, but that was Super Bowl mentions.
Yeah. But we had Mitch too, which was a question mark. So Caleb, there's question marks, but you expect more out of him, and he's a better prospect. So I like the way you put that, Phil.
How about like it kind of feels like pre 2018, like right when we got Khalil Mack, like that's how it feels right now. But because we got Ben Johnson and and Caleb Williams is year 2. It's kind of like the equivalent of like getting a Khalil Mack in a way.
That's the year we went from last to first as well. We won,
and we drafted Anthony Miller in the second round. We got
Anthony
Bird in the second
Miller
round.
was good for a couple seasons.
His rookie season, 7 touchdowns.
Tyreek in the same. Was that Cohen's year too as well?
Cohen's rookie year was 2017.
Oh, so it was the year before. Okay.
Yeah.
So because he was a Pro Bowler in 2018.
Got you.
Shout out to Tariq Cohen. So
shout out to
Tariq Cohen.
Absolutely. Well, hey, Phil, I know we had you on here for just a brief minute. We're going to go ahead. We're going to wrap it up unless you have something, Ficky. But we're going to get you on for –
I appreciate
one last thing. I want to know what's your one takeaway, and then we'll wrap it. I want to know what's your
from OTAs. Yeah.
My one takeaway is that I'm going to go back to the coaching. I feel like we have actual coaching happening at Hallis Hall. Good coaching, guys we could trust. I think that's the biggest takeaway. Like they were expecting perfection and like harping on it and really fixing mistakes. And it just seems like a professional franchise right now. We're actually operating like a blue blood franchise, and it's scary. We'll see what happens because we need to win. We need to win.
I don't know if you watched the first part of this show, but Ficky and I think we did our biggest takeaways from it, and that was my second one. And Ficky was like, are you reading my notes? Because he was going to say the same thing. So the first, we only gave you one takeaway, but for you to say that, it really just amplifies and confirms everything that we've seen is it's the most intense, most competitive, most energetic as well that we've seen from a Bears coaching staff and the players also in OTAs. This is OTAs we're talking about. Which is which is so funny. Organized team activities being this serious is something we'd love to see, man. And I think blue blood's a really good word. I think the Bears we got to be taken serious at some point. So
it starts at the top. And since day one that Ben Johnson's come out here, well, obviously he's got to win, right? But what he can do right now, the message he can portray, the image he can portray as the leader of this organization, he's checking that off. He's checking everything off across the books, right? He's that the blue blood, true leader. This is how we're going to do things. No nonsense, no bullshit. And that's what you need to do coming in right away, because it's basically like your syllabus week, right? You need to come in here and say, these are the expectations. This is how we're going to do shit around here. This is how it's going to get done, okay? And so I like the image and the narrative he's creating. Will it equate to wins? We'll have to wait and see, but you don't know that part yet. You got to handle what you can handle right now, and I think he's doing that perfectly.
Exactly.
Phil, I have a couple more questions. Are you cool with the rapid fire questions where it's basically like it's like yes or no or answering a couple words. So I have a couple here. Arlington Heights, how do you feel about it?
I think it makes more sense. I think it makes more sense. It doesn't bother me that it's not going to be in the city. Like, I don't know if anybody else knows that the 49ers play in Santa Clara, and they seem to have a pretty good home field advantage over there. I think it's going to be fine. I know it's not I don't know, historic, but you said quick fire. I just think that it makes sense to be in Arlington Heights, period.
I like that one too.
Hot take. Can I say something real quick? Also, you're talking about historic. This team has been historically ass.
Yeah.
Soldier Field equates to losing.
Hey,
So
but there's
yeah.
nothing like the lakefront view on Monday Night
Sure,
Football.
but you know what's
bro.
better than lakefront on Monday Night Football? Winning on Monday Night Football.
It's true.
So,
Yeah.
It's true.
so, dude, if it ends up
Yeah.
being in Arlington, I'm fine.
I
with
think-
this new chapter.
And
so.
I know this is rep part, but I think the fan experience is going to be so much better in Arlington too. Just like
Oh my
it's going to be
God.
sick because you see what
That
Green Bay
stadium-
has.
Oh my!
It's
God.
like it's insane. It's like a title town, man. So,
Yeah.
real
Oh,
quick, DJ Moore, or I'm sorry, who's the number one wide receiver this year? Who ends up being the guy at the end of the year?
Roman Dunze.
That was actually my next
yeah.
question.
Yeah.
Under, well, I guess this is you're probably going over or under 1,000 yards for Rome.
Over.
Okay, over or under 15 interceptions for Caleb Williams.
You said 15 interceptions.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go over because I think he's
As
gonna
much as
take.
he's throwing it?
I think he's gonna take chances this year. I don't think he's gonna be scared of turning it over. So I don't think that'll mean he played bad. I think that'll mean that he made took risks, which is what we should want. So
that's exactly what I thought too. That's interesting. I think he's gonna have. I'm not saying I don't want him to have 20, but I think there could be. I think 17 could be easily on the table.
As long as
Which
it's
would be
2-1 ratio, I'm cool.
Absolutely.
Like, you got 35
Yeah.
touchdowns and 15
17,
interceptions. How about me? Yeah, whatever. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right, Vic, do you have any other questions for Phil before we get? And again, we're gonna have Phil on for a full episode. We got him on the back half of this one, but we're gonna get him on very, very soon for a full episode.
Absolutely.
So,
I got one. It's
appreciate you guys.
not
I
Bears
appreciate you guys.
related. Not Bears related.
Uh-oh.
But because this is first off, go check out
Yes.
Phil's work for Just Another Year, Chicago Bulls. He covers the Bulls. Great stuff over there. Great
And the
stuff over
Profane Pod on
and
YouTube.
the Profane Pod as well. But I get a lot of because I'm not a Bulls fan, but I get a lot of the Bulls information because I follow Phil from Phil. So I appreciate that.
thank you, man.
How
I
did you
appreciate it.
feel when the Bulls picked 12, which they got from losing the coin flip, and 12 or 11 jumped all the way up to 1 to get Cooper flag?
I felt like it was rigged, man. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. I felt like it was rigged. I feel like we weren't gonna win that damn toss, no matter what. If we would have won that coin flip with Dallas probably still was picking first. I don't know. It feels like there's no way that the NBA is ever gonna give us the gift of Derrick Rose again. It was a one-stop shop. That was it. We're never gonna get number one again. And sweet.
It's sweet. Yeah.
We're gonna be stuck on. We're hoping Matas Buzelis like evolves into a superstar, but it's not. It would have been so much nicer just to like hit number one. I thought it was gonna be Destiny with the 1.7% chance, and
it's a little bit of a reach, but you almost had it.
And I think Dallas had a 1.7% chance.
No,
So,
they were tied. Yeah,
it's just
the coin
the wrong side of the coin.
Yeah, for
Such
sure.
bullshit,
Yeah.
dude.
And I saw let me know your thoughts on this. Do you agree, disagree, or where you put the team? But I was looking at Bleacher Report dropped the top 30 teams in the NBA and basically looked at like future projections. That's basically age of the team, the roster you constructed, future draft capital, and cap space, right? Dead last. I was surprised. Dead last was the Chicago Bulls. Do you feel that way about, and I think I was looking at like the next 3 to 5 years. I can't remember the exact parameters. Do you feel they're that low? Where would you put them? Is that too high, too low?
I think that's way too low. Dead last, like come
That's what it
on,
was.
you can't tell me like, okay, look, they're not close to being a championship contender, but Kobe White, Josh Giddey, and Matas Buzelis are actually like valuable pieces. They are valuable pieces that could be on a contending roster. So they're just maybe none of them are going to be the number one guy, but you have at least a couple of guys that could be the second guy there, I think. So and you got to hope that Matas can be the number one, or you got to get lucky or hope that someone signs here. But like, I don't know.
Where would you put them? Put a number on them. Where would you put them? Just on the spot. Or maybe, and to be honest, and maybe they're ranked 30 just because
I have one word. I could do it.
Go ahead.
Mediocre. I don't think, unless Matas, like you said, which I hope he can, because he's a very, very fun prospect. I think he has that.
Yep.
There's a possibility there's not a lot of players where you're like, he could be a star or even superstar. I
feel like
think
he has
there's something
what it
there,
Yeah, there's some
It's
dog
just
in
a
him.
star for sure.
which is good to have. You got to have some of those players.
Yeah.
So look at SGA's
your whole
development too. Took a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is like, everyone acts like we can't get a superstar in at 12. We might get a superstar at 12. So like,
there's superstars across.
I feel like
Jalen Brunson second round.
What's that?
I said you can get stars all across the draft. I mean, Jokic is an outlier, but Jalen Brunson second round, like
Jimmy Butler second round.
Jimmy Butler late second round. He was late.
Was he late first?
Late first. He was late first. He was like 28 or something like that. But still.
Yep. Giannis was in like the teens. SGA was in the teens. Donovan Mitchell was like 8th or
17 or something. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it was later.
Who needs
I mean,
the
there's
number
stars that you can find all over the draft. That's all. Halliburton was late.
Yeah.
So
he was 7 or 8, something like that.
Bro, that Halliburton meme.
Trust me,
Have you seen that? That is.
You mean have I seen that? That's my whole TL right now.
I know. I felt so bad for you. He's awesome.
Yeah,
man. That's
for last night.
Halliburton is crazy for doing the choke symbol in game 1 because now he's going to look like an idiot if he doesn't close the series.
Yeah.
Oh, facts. I'm ready.
It's going to live on forever, that choke symbol that he did.
Yeah.
But
hey, just like Reggie. Reggie did the same thing.
Yeah,
it backfired.
they lost that series. People always forget he did the choke, and people are like, "Oh, it's the iconic choke." He lost that series.
But the way they won it is why it's so iconic.
No. The choke makes sense for the game, but I'm saying when you look at the big picture, the Knicks went to the finals that year. I'm pretty sure. So
I always had mad respect for Reggie. I always had a lot of respect for Reggie. Like I loved Reggie Miller growing up. Like he was like an undercover favorite of mine. Him and Kobe after Jordan retired. I was like fans of those guys.
Great. Yeah, but that's why Caleb Williams is going to pass for 4,000 yards, right, guys?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Bears pod.
unless he has a career like this guy. But other than that,
Patrick Williams. I don't want to talk about it. That's another show. But we need to have a little crossover. We got to talk some Bulls. Anyways, anything else for Phil Fick before we get out of here?
I'm good. I just want to get.
I appreciate you guys very much for having me on.
No, absolutely. Again, check out Phil, host of the Just Another Year Chicago. Him and Nick. Phil does the Bulls. He also has the Professional and Profane. You can check out me, Jack, and Fick one over there. A month ago, a few weeks ago now, where they talk Chicago sports, WWE. I think you talk Purdue basketball as well. So Phil, keep doing it, man. Keep killing it. We're gonna have you on for a full episode here shortly. Follow him. I think we have is it JC?
Yep,
Phil?
JC Phil.
Yep.
In the Profane Pod, right?
Yep, everything. Honestly, if you go to my Twitter page, like all my stuff is right there. Like it links you right to it. So I appreciate you guys very much, and it's been an honor to jump on with you. Yeah, next time we'll do a whole episode, and any crossover you guys ever want to do, I'm down, man. We could do it, especially if I get to talk some shit about the Knicks.
Give it a week, and then you might have the opportunity. Well, actually, give it a couple days. You might have the opportunity. So, hey, let's relax, okay? Let's get this stuff, please. Right. Appreciate it, Phil. Thanks for hopping on, man.
Love it, Phil.
Easy, y'all.
All right, peace.
All right. Again, thank you for Phil. Follow him on all socials, like he mentioned. Really, really cool guy. Love the pod too. I mean, he's hardworking too, man. Him and that Bulls stuff.
Grinding, so that's a lot.
Grinding. So show some love. We love our guy Nick, Chicago Nick over there too on Just Another Year Chicago Bears. We need to get him on. I've been talking to him too. So, but Fick, anything else before we get out of here?
Well, let's do a shout out. If you have any quick questions, rapid fire. But let me go in here first. We got. You're an OG because I don't remember this name, but I don't like fish sticks. That's an awesome fucking name. But hashtag OG, thank you. Appreciate that. I don't like fish sticks, so I'll definitely remember you next time. We got Erica in here with the bear down. Shout out Erica. We got Rudy in here. Appreciate it. Hashtag OG. We got, he's back in here with I don't like fish sticks. I just love them. I'm gonna say that every time. Hashtag OG. Jordan loves fish sticks. Okay, love something with fish sticks. I need to look into that. We got Kyler in here with the hashtag OG, hashtag waiting for the season. No, I think that's hilarious, bro. Some of these names in avatars I think are the funniest, and it's just great to see. So shout out to fish sticks. You're a true OG, but keep the comments going. So I know we have some other OGs in here. I do want to give a shout out, obviously, to Tito. I'm going to give a shout out to Tito. I see Eduardo's in here. Yeah. I'm going to give a shout out to him as well because I know he's an OG. Nixon 7 and fuck Trae Young. I appreciate that. And yeah, so appreciate it for everyone who joined. And it was great, man. It's great. Yeah. It's always fun. Always good to talk about Bears. Hopefully we'll have some more. Guys, we are in June. We're about next time we go live, it'll be June. And we are that much closer to training camp. So
we appreciate, again, the support all off season. It's been really, really insane. Road to 10K. So if you can, just hit that like button. It really does help the channel grow. Tell a friend, and we appreciate it. So Vic, I don't have anything else.
One more. We got Bill
OG
here. Bill with the cocaine Bill his name's Bill Brasky, but the Adam Gase, where he's definitely on some snow.
That was crazy.
Abby, yeah. Hashtag OG. So shout out to you, Bill. Appreciate it. And shout out to all of y'all who joined the number one show for the fans, by the fans, the BFR Podcast. We appreciate y'all. We love it.
Do me a favor. Check out my work on sportsmockery.com. Again, this show, Bears Film Room, is presented by them. We appreciate their support. Just check out my stuff. Vic has check out his socials, and of course follow the pod on BFR _pod. Our TikTok is popping off too. It's having a lot of fun over there. So if you can check it out, we appreciate it. I think that's all I have, Vic.
That's it, man. Appreciate y'all. It's gonna be fun. Let's get closer to this.
All right. Awesome. Well, again, as far as schedule goes, last thing here, we'll be back. We may be back next week. We might take next week off. I think minicamp is next week, so it might be the week after. So either way, check out the pod or the socials. You'll know when we'll be going live soon. So appreciate y'all. We'll be back shortly. Bear down.
Peace.